Wish TV is your home for high school football. It is that time, week 2. Greg Rakestraw from the IC Broadcast Network here to break down our game of the week. This week we got Fishers versus Pike. Big matchup last year. What can we expect this year?
Well, first of all, Fishers came in after a dominating performance against North Central last week, which is not exactly surprising. North Central, a team that's kind of rebuilding a little bit. So part of the story for Fishers in that game is that they held North Central to 22 yards of total offense on 28 plays. It was a running clock by the time we got to half number 2. A couple of standouts. Kobe Martin had a carry for 31 yards, had 93 yards rushing on 13 carries, scores the touchdown here. John Anthony Hall had a great night in terms of receiving, 5 catches for 54 yards. Again, Fishers kind of took care of business as expected in week number 1. They will get a better test from Pike this week. Pike came so close to knocking off Zionsville, led that game 21-17, couldn't hang on to it late, lose that one 24-21. Pike has been a program that has had kind of more down than up, say, over the last 10 years, but Mike Brevard seemingly has something going here. Expect this to be a very competitive game, and again, I think Pike has a shot to pull off what would be a slight upset if they can beat Fishers tomorrow night. I
got to wonder how prepared any of these players are going to feel after this extreme heat this week. The practices have been all over the place.
That's a good point. I would say at least this. Schools of this size, do they have full indoor fields of practice on? No. But you can a lot in the weight room, a lot in the gymnasium. And obviously, these schools have tremendous athletic training staffs. And things like sports nutrition are very much practiced in schools like this. So I guarantee you the training staff, like my buddy Paul Herman that runs the training staff at Pike High School, they have been hydrating these kids and prepping these kids as best they can. And believe me, additional breaks, hydration breaks, maybe a delayed kickoff, and a lot of delayed kickoffs kind of around the area tomorrow night. So these players will be prepared as best as they can.
So keys that you're watching to differentiate the teams?
To kind of differentiate the teams, again, I think Pike needs to play mistake-free football. They're a team that, because of a lack of success recently, maybe they're lacking for confidence. And it's kind of that last hurdle is finding a way to close out games. Couldn't do it against Zionsville last week. So I think if Pike gets off to a good start, and I think if Pike can avoid the turnover bug, they'll give themselves a chance.
Other games you're watching?
All right, so the other big game in the area, Cathedral and Brownsburg immediately comes to mind. And then a couple of rivalry games in the southern part of our listening area, or our viewing area, I should say. Columbus East, Columbus North, maybe it doesn't have the statewide implications that game has had in years gone by, but it's the biggest game in Bartholomew County every year. Same for Perry, Meridian, and Southport. The Perry Township battle. So even in week number 2, we get some really big rivalry games.
We are in full swing. Don't go anywhere. Sticking around, right?
I get to stay right here for the next 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
Just sit here and sip my coffee.
Changing sports.
Right. I even brought a prop to signify the difference in me being on the show twice today.
Awesome. We'll be talking Indy 11. Scott Sander will be talking with Greg in a little bit about that. But back to football. Don't forget, you can catch every play of our Game of the Week live on our sister station, MyIndy TV 23. Starts at 7 o'clock. Then switch over to Wish TV for complete highlights on The Zone.